This is our tutorial on the currency accounts. The currency account is a slightly complicated report which not all Intopia players need to learn about, but your CFO, your Chief Financial Officer, will need to know about this. It is a little delicate, but I'm sure it's something that you can understand quite easily. So we have a report for each of the area, United States, Europe, Brazil, and Home Office Liechtenstein, for the various currency dollar, euro, real, and Swiss franc. You can have up to 4 bank accounts, one in each of the currency of the simulation. Of course, you may have dollar in the US, but you also may have an account in euro, an account in real, and an account in Swiss franc. This is a blessing, but it is also a challenge, because unless you're careful, then you will end up having multiple bank accounts, and in principle, you can have up to 16 different bank accounts. And as you know, it's always a little bit difficult to check if you agree with the bank between your own calculation and what the bank gives you. So we would advise you to try and limit yourself to only one currency per area. So in the US, for instance, what do we see? These guys have 649,695 units of dollar, which of course in the US a dollar is a value of 1, so the value of this dollar is the same, exactly the same amount, and the total cash in the US is only made with dollars and is the amount of 649,695. In Europe, we have a more interesting situation because what we see is these guys have a negative for dollar in Europe, and they have a positive balance for euros in Europe. What does that mean to have a negative balance? It just means to have an overdraft. So you owe money to the bank. So these guys owe $1,821,000, the value of this in euros is 1,729,950. They have euros for this amount, which is of course a value of 1 because we are in Euroland. It's the same value as the amount. And the bank gives you a very interesting information. They say, well, by combining these two, you end up with a net positive balance of 1,117,113 euros, because the overdraft is worth this many euros and you have this positive balance of euros, so the difference between the two is this one. Why is it interesting? Because the bank will always give you an overdraft in another currency as long as this bottom line here is higher than 0. The moment you get to 0, let's say they have twice as many dollars in overdraft, then that would become a 0. And the difference, if there is a need for more, would be covered with supplier credit, which is a shame because it's very expensive. Here we have an example of exactly what I said. In Brazil, they have an overdraft of dollar 639,000, which is a value of 269,496, which is the value of the positive balance they have in real. And so the 2 becomes 0. And so that suggests in Brazil, this company may have an overdraft. Unless they're very brilliant, they have calculated exactly what they need to just cover what they need in dollars. But let's take a look. All right, so we go back to the balance sheet at the top of the report. And what do we see? Bingo, they have an overdraft in real. They have an overdraft in real. So in Brazil, they have an overdraft. The bank has lent them money up to this amount, which is a fairly sizable amount, nearly 4 million reals, to cover the extra spending that they have to pay. So this is exactly what you should be wary. When you don't have enough cash, everything combined, you will be given or charged a supplier credit, meaning the bank will give money to your supplier, but will charge you really a lot of money. And then in the home office, you have sort of the same situation. They have also an overdraft of dollars. They have a big positive balance of Swiss franc, and this covers probably everything except when you say 20,000 here, there is a special regulation in Liechtenstein. It's like you have zero in Brazil or in Europe. So the Liechtenstein banks will start giving you a supplier credit when you hit the lower side of 20,000 Swiss francs. Do they have a supplier credit in Liechtenstein? Well, let's take a look. And we go back, and then bingo, they have a supplier credit, not very big, of 74,000 Swiss francs. That means they were not given by the bank a little bit more to cover their overdraft of dollars. So that's what we have. Now, you might wonder, where are these figures coming from? Now, the Intopia report will give you the detail by currency. And this is something that we cover in another tutorial.